Hey, let me ask you something right off the bat. Do you know what's really behind the fire building up inside Dante Fowler Jr. in this Cowboys defense? Because I'll tell you this, it's not just about stats or schemes. It's something deeper. It's hunger. That raw, burning hunger that only a few players carry inside them. The kind that comes from being overlooked, underestimated, and constantly needing to prove your worth. You've seen this type of player before, haven't you? The ones nobody bets on. But when the lights come on, they bring absolute chaos to the field. That's what we call a hungry player. And that's exactly who Dante Fowler Jr. is right now. And let's be honest, this isn't the first time the Cowboys have gone after guys with something to prove. Remember those low-risk, high-upside signings we've had over the past few seasons? Players who weren't top-dollar free agents, but ended up making a serious impact just because they were desperate to prove a point. That's what makes this strategy so dangerous. For the opponents, of course. Fowler fits right into that mold. He's not here just to fill a roster spot. He's here to take heads off, to show everyone in the league that he's not done yet. And believe me, when a guy like that gets into the zone, he becomes a nightmare for quarterbacks. And you, yes, you watching right now, do you believe in that hunger to win? Drop a comment and tell me, do you think this kind of mindset actually changes the game on the field? I really want to know where you stand on this. Because I'll tell you what, this isn't just about one player. It's about a shift in attitude, a shift in how the Cowboys are building something mean, explosive, and unpredictable. And if you're still not convinced, wait till you hear what pushed Fowler over the edge. All right, now that you understand the hunger driving Dante Fowler Jr., let me show you where that fire really ignited. Because trust me, something snapped, and it's all out in the open. You saw the post, right? Or maybe you missed it. Fowler didn't hold back. He let the world know exactly how he felt. He called it straight. Disrespected. Said he barely got half the snaps, yet still outproduced players who were on the field way more than him. That's not just frustration. That's rage. And not the kind that fades away after a few weeks. It's the kind that sticks, that festers, that becomes fuel. And when a player carries that kind of energy into a season, it can flip everything upside down. We've seen it before, this chip-on-the-shoulder mindset, that famous revenge mentality. It's what separates average players from those who go out there and play like their career is on the line every single snap. And here's the thing. When a guy feels like the league has turned its back on him, and when he knows he's still got gas in the tank, he doesn't just want to play. He wants to dominate. Fowler is walking into this season not just as a defender, but as a man on a mission. And don't underestimate how much of a difference that makes. That emotional fuel, it's powerful. It's the kind of mindset that can turn a good player into a dangerous one. But now I want to hear from you. Do you think this kind of fire will help Fowler explode on the field? Or could it backfire and hurt his game? Let's open this up in the comments. Drop your take. I'm curious what you think. Should a player play with this much emotion, or is it a double-edged sword? Because from where I'm standing, that anger might just be the secret weapon this Cowboys defense needs. And speaking of weapons, wait until you see what he's already been doing on the field, even with limited chances. That's next. Now listen, talk is one thing, but numbers don't lie. And when you take a real look at what Dante Fowler Jr. did with limited snaps, man, it's honestly shocking that more people aren't talking about it. Let's break it down. 10.5 sacks, 12 quarterback hits, 14 tackles for loss. And remember, this wasn't a guy playing full-time. He was rotating in, getting a fraction of the opportunities compared to other edge rushers. Yet his production? Right there with the league's top-tier pass rushers. So you've got to ask, why didn't Dan Quinn unleash him more? Was it scheme? Was it rotation politics? Maybe it was just bad timing. But here's where things get interesting. because with Mike Zimmer now stepping in, the entire defensive approach could change, and Fowler might finally get the green light he's been waiting for. Zimmer loves aggression. He builds defenses that thrive on chaos, pressure, disruption. That's Fowler's game to a T. This could be the perfect storm, and if you've seen the tape, you know what I'm talking about. Remember that play against Lamar Jackson? Fowler chased him down like a heat-seeking missile? That's not just speed. That's instinct. That's drive. That's raw athleticism that most guys just don't have. You put that kind of motor next to Micah Parsons, and now we're talking about a nightmare scenario for quarterbacks. Imagine that duo collapsing a pocket. Who do you even block? Who do you try to stop? And think about it. How many teams in this league are getting this kind of pass rush production from a player on a low-cost contract? The value is insane. Fowler isn't just a role player. He's one of the most underrated assets on this roster. Let me throw it to you. Can you picture this monster wrecking offensive lines with Parsons right beside him? If that idea fires you up too, hit that like button and let's get this conversation going in the comments. Here's where things get even more interesting. If you've been following the Cowboys closely, you know they're doing something different with this defense. They're assembling a unit that's both aggressive and budget-friendly, and Dante Fowler Jr. is the perfect piece of the puzzle. The Cowboys aren't just looking for big names, they're looking for undervalued talent with potential. Fowler fits that mold perfectly. He's a guy who's been a steady contributor, but hasn't yet hit his peak. And with the way the Cowboys are using him, he could absolutely explode in 2024. It's part of a bigger plan, building a pass rush with players who have something to prove. We're talking about players like Fowler, who are coming off contracts where they didn't get the full opportunity, but now they're ready to take the next step. This is how you build a defense that's both explosive and cost-effective. Then, when you look at the whole defensive line, it gets even more exciting. You've got Micah Parsons, one of the most dynamic players in the league. You've got DeMarcus Lawrence, who's always a threat. And don't forget Mazi Smith, who's going to be disruptive in his own right. These guys complement each other perfectly. The depth, the variety of styles. This is a defense that can overwhelm offenses. And let's not ignore the draft. The Cowboys still have an opportunity to add even more talent, especially in the defensive line. The potential is there for this defense to be top-notch in 2024, and you've got Fowler as a key contributor to that. So where do you rank this defense in the NFL? Top 5? Top 10? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's see where we stand. Personally, I think this group could easily surprise a lot of teams and a lot of fans this year. Now, as exciting as all this is, it's time to dive into the real moment of truth for Fowler. What's the next big stage for him? Let's find out in the next chapter. And here we are. What could be one of the most electrifying moments of Dante Fowler Jr.'s season? The stage is set, the emotions are high, and it's all about revenge. The Cowboys are set to face the Commanders, and for Fowler, this game has a whole different vibe. Let's rewind for a second. The Commanders are the team that let Fowler go after what was, by most accounts, a solid season. They saw the potential, but for whatever reason, didn't keep him around. Now, Fowler has the chance to show them what they're missing, and you can bet he's got that chip on his shoulder, ready to prove them wrong. Here's a bold prediction. In just those 2 games against the Commanders, I'm calling it Fowler gets 4 sacks. Yep, you heard that right. With the hunger and fire he's bringing to the field, he's not going to hold back, especially when it's personal. This is his moment to shine, to deliver a message not only to the Commanders, but to the entire league. You underestimated me, and now it's time to pay the price. The intensity is going to be off the charts. Fowler will be looking to prove that he's not just another free agent acquisition, he's the missing link to a championship-caliber defense. And with the way he's been playing, there's every reason to believe he'll rise to the occasion. This season is shaping up to be historic, not just because of the defense's potential, but because of players like Fowler who are driven by something deeper, by revenge, by proving themselves, by making their mark. What do you think? Will Fowler be the standout defensive player this season? Or does he still have something to prove? Let me know in the comments below. Hit that like button if you're excited about Fowler's future, and make sure to subscribe for more breakdowns like this. This season is going to be insane, and you don't want to miss a moment of it.